Good day everyone, it is Caitlin and today we are dressing a woman in the early 1830s. To start out with, I am in my wrapper, which is basically a house coat. It's something I can wear to appear somewhat presentable without being fully dressed. It's also something that I wear whenever I'm going into the restroom late at night. First thing I am going to put on are my stockings, which are white cotton, and also my garters. And after putting on my shoes as well, I'm going to start taking off the wrapper. Underneath my wrapper is the base layer of Victorian women's clothing, which is called the shift or the chemise. This one is linen and is copied nearly exactly from an original in my collection. Next layer is the corset or stays. These are back lacing and there is no front closure, so I have to lace it down the front, turn the corset, and then tighten it that way, which does take a fair bit of time, but it is fully possible to lace myself in a back lacing corset. Corsets are worn for a multitude of reasons. The primary reason is bust support, as bras have not been invented yet. Of course, they also provide back support. This is my working corset, so it's a lower class one than my fancy embroidered one. But there is quite a bit of boning in the back, specifically for the back support. Bending over a hearth all day is not kind on your back. You need the extra support. In addition to bust and back support, the corset also provides a smooth layer, so it doesn't matter how thin you are, there are usually some bumps and lumps that need to be taken care of when you're wearing the extremely tight-fitted garments of the 19th century, and of course it just smooths out all those lines for you. You can see the wooden busk in the front. And there are also shoulder straps in the 1830s which need to be taken on. And at this point, it's just tightening the laces to get a good fit. This is not a type of corset you can really tight lace down. In fact, I find my waist measurement personally is larger in a corset than it is without one, at least this type of corset. But again, they're primarily not for pulling in the waist, it's primarily for back and bust support and smoothing out the lines. While none of the corsets I wear from the 1820s to the 1880s are in any way painful, corsets of the early 19th century are particularly just squishy is how I kind of describe them. There isn't a lot of boning or support. Most of mine is in the back and of course the bust because I need that bust support. You even see accents that are just corded, and some of them aren't even corded or boned at all. They're just a base layer to kind of pull in the bust and to give a nice shape to the body. My corset was spiral lace, so I have to spin around to get that very long lace tied up. And now we're going to put on petticoats. It's a very chilly day when I film this, so we're going to start with a wool flannel petticoat. And yes, the back is caught up and I never noticed. So apparently it stayed like that all day. The next one is another wool petticoat. This one is a dress weight wool petticoat that is caught on my corset. This is a really good working petticoat. I love wool for working petticoats because it wears really well. It's heat resistant, so I can use it as a hot pad. It's also water resistant, so it's not going to get splashed and drag because it's heavy. It's just overall a really good option. Alright, and now we're going to put on a pocket. Pockets are detachable in this time frame. This one happens to be based off an extant that is in a private collection, and it is made of printed cotton, and it just ties around the waist. I actually have a pair of pockets that match, and I could have worn them both. I just decided to wear one today. And finally, it is time for the dress. This one is a wool gown. Wool is from Burnley and Trowbridge. I believe it is their dark Saxon green wool stuff, lined with brown cotton. It is entirely hand sewn, as is everything else that you will see in this video. Entirely hand sewn using period techniques. Now this is a back closing dress, as the majority of dresses were in the 1830s, which means I will need some slight assistance in doing up the hooks and eyes in the back. This is actually my late 1820s dress, so the sleeve puffy bits are not quite as big as they would be by the early to mid 30s, but they are still there. And I have a sweet friend, Peggy, who is doing up my dress because I cannot do back closing dresses by myself. It is always helpful to have a friend to help you get dressed, especially when you're dealing with the time frames that are back closing dresses. In the historical time frames, it was very rare for a woman to be on her own. Sisters, mothers, husbands are all perfectly capable of doing up a corset and doing up a dress if there isn't a lady's maid involved. Now to fill in the neckline, because it is, again, cold, I'm going to wear a neckerchief. This is a quite large one. It's a printed cotton neckerchief from Burnley and Trowbridge, and there's lots of ways to wear these. I could just leave it like that and tie it. That's perfectly fine. I could have also put it underneath the dress and then put the dress over top. I think I'm going to leave it down in the back and then tuck the ends in the front. And I do have some hooks and eyes at the cuffs that need to be done up. They were being a tad difficult when I filmed this. And because I will be working over a hearth all day and cleaning house, I will need an apron. This one is a Regency style apron made from Stitchin' Addiction's free pattern, which I will link to her channel below. I really adore these Regency style aprons. Most of the ones I have seen button in the back, this one happens to tie. And sometimes all the straps get tangled up, which is what we're seeing here. Now, if only that crossover at the shoulder straps would come down just a little bit. Now, because I will be working, I would like to cover my hair just to keep dirt, soot, ashes, other random particles from getting into my hair. It keeps it clean, and there we are. And there we are, dressed for the late 1820s and early 1830s. Thank you so much for joining me today as we got dressed. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here on Monday.